There is something about the grid that has my attention from an even different perspective than many, many others, but I see a supernatural component. I talk about these solar flares and the natural electromagnetic energy as opposed to the unnatural. And we look at these urban areas, the cell phone towers, and the smart meters, and those cell phones that people are interacting with, and not just their own, but interacting with other of these other magnetic fields other than their own. And I do not believe that that is healthy. And that is the conversation that we are having. Americans are fleeing U.S. cities, right? Incrementally. And I would say in patterns. Sometimes we see these alarmist headlines. Americans are fleeing U.S. cities at record numbers. Sometimes. That's why I've been talking about these migratory patterns with the solar flares. There are periods in which some people, they opt for a natural way of life. And I'm starting to connect the dots here in my own consciousness on a deeper level as to why that is, politics aside, even fears of the future aside. There are certain periods in which people want to get away from the unnatural electromagnetic pollution. Smart meters, cell phone towers. What am I missing from this? Smart grid technologies in general. Wi-Fi. I said cell phones. You think about, all the different cell phones that'll be in a single room. There's a coffee shop in town, by the way. And one of the reasons I stopped going there, well, it wasn't in a great location, but it was next to a cell phone store. One time I actually went to that cell phone store to get some prepaid internet when I was living in the RV and running someone's website. And really just paying through the teeth for that service. $100 for 10 gigs. So they were really rude in there. I chalked it up to those women being surrounded by those cell phones. Not everybody looks at reality like me. But when you have people that literally live in these cell phone cities and realities, you have people that are being... It doesn't mean that if you, right, are listening to this, and you happen to be, because most of you are, but you're not... Some of you may have average views that are online, but most of you, I would assume, are different, right? Because most of the world isn't open to some of the stuff that I'm talking about. Or they are if someone else is sharing it. But see, me, I bring different things into it. And ultimately, this is positive because it helps set people free. There are people out there that don't have spiritual development, that don't understand the necessity of some of this information or the value of my content. Hey, Alex, I just found your channel. Can we just be positive? It's like, it's real easy for people to be positive when they aren't being hunted. When they aren't, right, in the land of the bombed. And that's why it's kind of cute that a lot of you find me because of the off-grid stuff. But really, I'm here to teach you a deeper level about reality. And it isn't about, hey, did you know there's a place where people can live off-grid? Look at me. Come try to be like me. No. There's actually a reality out there, right? That I've been narrating for years and discussing what's been going on this planet. And a guy like me living in these urban grid environments, not a good thing. Not a good thing. Why? The people. The judgment. You're being negative. You're being negative. Oh, look at this, the sky here, the dark sky. Of course, zapped with electromagnetic energy. Juicy. But you see, the greater reality is that the experienced Alex Ansary listener understands is that a lot of people in the alternative media are nothing but disinformation. And if people are going to be looking at real plots, right, the real war upon us, we need to be getting specific. We need to be working to be as truthful as possible, not engage in propaganda wars, info wars. So this is really about the soul. the soul evolving beyond, or I say often, getting our soul back. So we wake up to reality in these dark ages, and we are now in the high-tech dark ages, where we have the social media giants at the top of that building sitting with the president, sitting with China, sitting with Russia. What is happening now, ladies and gentlemen, is at a level that most people refuse to talk about or hear out. And it is my role on a planet of billions to have the courage to speak about this deception. And it is a conspiracy to contaminate our minds with the illusions of separation. We would be having a better time having a barbecue, talking about the things or enjoying the things that connect all of us, regardless of skin tone. But we are not in that world. Welcome, welcome. If you found my channel, welcome. Sharing my story isn't negative. There aren't other channels like this. There are decent people on YouTube. I do watch other people on YouTube once in a while. But there is value, don't you ever forget that, in sharing one story, because this is a world of cowards, of people that will not speak their truth on camera and take the risks that go with it. So it could be said that I'm in deep. I'm in all the way. But having crossed through my own spiritual Rubicon, if you will, so much more of the content is on the spiritual awakening on this channel. You compare that, it's like, to other people in the alternative media, right, that are discussing world events. I think a lot of them are lost, and I have a hard time listening to them. If I'm going to watch a certain individual for entertainment, I'm just watching his downfall as he gets crazier and crazier and uses religion to prop up his politics. As he literally hops up and down pledging allegiance to the president. That is weird, man. I haven't seen Americans act like that. That is some weird, quote unquote, I'm in deep with the system BS. I just keep watching them repeat the same talking points. So this grid is an environment that affects people's reality. On the spiritual note, you should be able to affect the environment because our thoughts are powerful. What a lot of law of attraction people that sometimes find my channel don't understand is that, no, you do not manifest every single fear and every single desire. That is the type of stuff that leads people to greed and thinking that you just think about like big riches and big, and it's also promoting fear. It is actually very fearful. This one guy said, if I keep thinking about this stage managed World War III scenario, that I'll make it happen. That is insane. No, this is insane. This is mental illness. This is insanity. There is a plan to create a conflict. And there's a real sad nature to the fact that people that are able to see what's going on are considered contributors to the conflict. None of you have said that to me specifically. It was a few years ago in Portland, Oregon. You'll make it happen. You'll make it happen. Whoa. That person had the guts to try to add me on Facebook a few years later. Some people are so gone on the intelligence level that they may not realize it, that their words that they're saying are straight up disrespectful and novice leaning. Definitely coming from a novice. And we always know when it's a new listener or a new viewer that hasn't stuck around long enough to develop some basic respect. This channel is there to help shine the light on a lot of things. It is only there, right, for the eyes to see and ears to hear. There are very few people in the independent media have stayed consistent to their morals. And I'll tell you what, it is a world, right, that will try to punish you and burn you and shame you by staying true to your morals and by developing boundaries. I want to reach more of you around the planet. I want to engage. I want to engage the listener. I'd like to be in a studio and take phone calls, but when I talk about these things, I'm speaking in a general sense to like hundreds to thousands of you at a time. Even though maybe only 100 of you will see this video, I'm really speaking this message to many, many, many people. By the way, what examples can we see on a positive note? Because we do need to look at the positive with what people are doing in the grid. Where? Where can we see examples of others that are highlighting good in the grid? Where can I see people in my community that have looked to find the good within myself instead of apprehensive, like I'm outside their tribe? Because that's exactly how I've been living. No one is going to stop me from sharing my story. So I'm going to be writing more and more. Writing is a very healing thing. I just think it was really weird. Somebody came in and say, be careful what you write. Be careful what you write. Whoa. Be careful what advice you take from anybody on the internet. Learn for yourself. Go down the rabbit hole of spirituality and seek to separate the truth versus the fiction with the law of attraction crowd. Because a lot of people, they could be in their 40s and 50s, and they could be using the law of attraction to manifest positive things for themselves, but really never one day pick up a microphone to start speaking about real issues that affect others. So they're not just out for their own skin, but actually invested in making the world a better place. That's reality versus fiction. It's easy for a lot of people to be spiritual, right? When they've never sought to expose the spiritual parasites of our world. Then it's a party. Get down, because they're being positive. They're not trying to challenge the rule of the archons. They're just trying to get down, baby, get down on it. Dude, relax, man, chill, bro. You need to smoke this. It's cool. I already smoke. And I think deep, my brother, but thank you. Drink all the drink with you. But you know what? We're probably going to start talking about politics. If you're up there looking at that game, don't think I'm not going to comment about how ridiculous it is watching those men chase a ball. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Back and forth, man. But can you picture what it was like having a beer with me back in 2008 in Portland, Oregon at was it Putters on 45th and Woodstock, Southeast Portland, right? People will be like, oh, you know, it wasn't humping the Trump, it was humping Obama then. I'm like, no, just like I am right now, no. No, you guys just keep making the same mistakes worshiping these political messiahs. They're all bastards. It's just so sad I have to say it like that, but this is the grid, right? They keep people mesmerized by these ivory towers. And even people that are just off the grid, you have people that still have the grid in their mind. They're watching the game. They're playing violent video games. They're literally humping cardboard cutouts of Donald Trump. And then doing this whole reptilian thing like, who's against us? Who's against, like all that's grid thought. That's not off the grid. That's in the grid. Maybe I'll meet more interesting people in the future. Maybe there'll be some intellectuals that will emerge, authors. Hey, Alex, let's write a book. Hey, Alex, here's a book that I read. Hey, Alex, I have some very deep, profound thoughts with response to your solar flare lecture. Here's a PDF. Like, where's the brilliance? You got to admit, at least one man on YouTube, and I didn't say I was the smartest, has got to start challenging people to start using more of their consciousness. Okay, I'm at a low level of consciousness when it comes to certain things. Cars, building, but there's another element of me that's shifted over here. And I'm straight up looking at the totality of the situation on the planet and the grid's involvement and how these spiritual parasites use the grid to keep people in these realities and these environments. More so, and I haven't really touched on it, on the more supernatural side, by being near these smart meters and grids, it's like it's a conduit for other entities to come back and forth through this world, through the people that they feed on. So I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to help people get outside this matrix. We can be as positive as we want on the third neon lit floor of that building. Think of Devil's Advocate, with Trump Tower on the top floor, social giants on the top floor, with our Senate hearing, senators on the top floor, and they're all plotting these things and doing divide and conquer. And we're just down here being positive with a neon light. Let's just have some tea here. And just be, hey, at least we've got these mirrors here. Yeah. At least we have these simulations here. Starting to sound like the future. Hey, let's just try to live forever. Let's just try to hide from our actions. But you know what? We can't do that. You can't do that no matter what. You can try. You can do it for a whole lifetime. Then guess what happens? You return to this place. Now ask yourself, what is this place going to be in the future? This grid? What are we going to waking up like Matrix screaming, pulling that thing out of the back of their head? What then? So you know what? I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to face our fears and look at reality as it is, go on the real spiritual path, not the false spiritual path. Be happy all the time, yada, yada, yada. That's the false spiritual path. Those are false spiritual teachers. We have to face what's going on and also expose those that are trying to tear us. How many people do you know that are calling out those doing the race baiting? Many people don't see value in that. Trust me, you're going to see the value in it down the line when you see what comes about from this society. We need to be working tirelessly day and night to awaken people's spirits so they can overcome the infection that is sweeping our society, because this grid is still alive and it's seeking more power and it's growing by the day. So we haven't seen the worst of it. Okay? Can we affect the hive mind and the grid with our thoughts and positive ways? Sure. But we do that in specific ways and actions. And thoughts. And then I wonder what's going to be the future of this particular environment. Is it going to be like the Jetsons in 50 years? And then could we have some positive realities within this grid? I'm open to seeing that. You know what I mean? But there's a Billy Joel song, "We Didn't Start the Fire." Our thoughts, like, I'm alive now. I may have played a role in living in this incarnation because I believe in the karmic law of cause and effect. But I think that's more important to look at from a larger totality, from the lifetime perspective, than just law of attraction, happy now, something now, but ignore the reality that this technology is killing us to a certain degree. Sure, people live in these virtual realities and they have these online friends, but what about sunshine? Speaking of which, it looks like it's rising outside. You know, while I am using the grid and technology, I'm using my thoughts to make it the most positive thing possible. Yes, it may be used for mind control. I'm working to apply my thoughts to reach many of you, though. From off the grid to within the grid, using grid technologies like satellite internet, but it's not connected to the grid, but it's connected to satellite. You know, I think there's something to that. And the nature of these actual dialogues about urban living versus off-the-grid living, and even deeper, the changes to our society. Okay, I'm going to stop there.